I'm not going to ask you about the Sam deal. Obviously, Ian's covered that, but just how disappointed are you to be losing the big man?
Yeah, look, I think Bleasy covered it all. It's disappointing for the club, but it's footy. The game changes from week to week, year to year. People come and go, and I've always said it. Coaches, players, no one's bigger than the club, and we wish Sam all the best. And he's going to be hard to replace, but Reece Martin was going to be hard to replace too, and we managed to do it. So the club will move on.
And do you feel he can be replaced from within the group as it stands?
There's a lot of good young blokes here, but as it's been over several weeks. I've been playing with 5 front rows, in a rotation. So you only really need 4, but because we've had 5 really good ones, often I've carried 3, so 5 big middles. And most teams will only carry 4, so it just opens up other opportunities for other guys. And there's a couple of guys underneath that are playing well, and it probably opens up a pathway for Presley as well.
Just on the squad this week, Jack Sinfield's dropped out of the 21 due to injury. How bad is the injury? Is that something he's got in the reserves?
He's been carrying a ankle complaint for a little while, and he's tough, and he's probably too tough for his own good. And we've just made the decision to, have a week off his feet, and we'll reassess it next week. It's nothing major, but he's just keeps aggravating an ankle from the start of the year, and like I said, he's just probably too tough for his own good. He's just kept playing through it, and we're at the stage where we don't really need him to run the risk of doing that at the moment.
Are you just saying about the front rowers? You've lost one of those with Tom being injured. What's your thinking regarding the 17 this week?
Yeah, Ackers will come into the team, mate. So he's been out for a while. So it's a good opportunity for him. Jered, ran for 9Ks and was over 104 metres, per minute on the last game for 80 minutes against Hull KR. So just got a little bit of backup, around Jered because he's burning the candle at both ends at the moment. So we just need to make sure we manage him.
What about this game though? Off the back of the Hull KR win, what do you want to see from your team on Friday?
Exactly the same, mate. Like everyone keeps asking, where we're at, and that we think we can press for a title spot. And I'll keep coming with the same answer. We're not quite at the Wigan and Hull KR level yet because they manage to do it every week. We as a team, we've proven that we're good enough on our day to match it with the really good teams. Now, if we want to be a really good team, we've got to do it every week. And so that's the challenge for us. And you can't be at your absolute best every week, but certainly the way you approach the game that needs to be, and the style of footy that we play. We can't falter from that.
It was only a few weeks ago that you lost at Saints. That's probably the only blot in the copybook over the last couple of months. What did you take from that?
Well, I know that seems pretty harsh. Looking, we've what are we, 17 rounds in, and we've only had the one bleep where I think that we had the wrong attitude towards our game. But like I said, if you want to be the best, you got to do it all the time. So, and we're not far off. But that's what I want to see. I want to see us come with the right attitude towards the style of footy we want to play.
What's your appraisal of St Helens at the moment?
I think they're going well. I think they've probably fallen under the radar a little bit, like they all talk about it, a few other teams, but they doing a pretty good job at the moment of not beating themselves.
You've got 10 games left. 4 of those are at home. I think you've got back-to-back home games. How important is it to make the most of that home advantage starting on Friday?
Yeah, look, I'm not fussed whether they're home or away. We'd love to play at home every week, as every club would, but yeah, we can get a great advantage out of it. We've got, the crowd gets right behind our guys, and you can drag them into a bit of excitement, so it does help. And it would be nice more for our home fans that they come here and they're supporting us, that we get the right results. So that's probably the most important part from it. But home away, you need to be able to play your style of footy regardless of if you've got to get on a bus for 3 hours or you only got to drive 10 minutes to the game. And that's the bit that we're still working on as a team, and we showed that on the weekend. It's a tough trip to go at the Hull KR, but it's the choice that you make around your prep and your attitude towards what the occasion is.
And that's got to be the message for Friday, isn't it? You've overcome the toughest challenge currently away at Hull KR to to win your home games, that's, that shows resolve, shows resilience that you want to see.
Yeah, well, we've shown that we can win all different ways at the moment, haven't we? So that's pleasing, and that was a bit of our learn from, at the start of the season. We've got a little bit nervous and jumpy in a few of those games, but we've managed to find different ways to win and stick to our plan for 80 minutes. But there's still a long way to go in this competition. 10 rounds, you see how close it is, and we're excited about the opportunities that we've been given.
Just lastly from me, it's a year ago today since the club announced your appointment, Brad Arthur. How do you reflect on the last 12 months?
Fun. I've enjoyed it. It's rejuvenated me a bit. I was a bit flat and down, and with what happened, how I ended in the last job, and but that was needed for me. I think it was the right decision, that from the club at the time and myself, and it's been good for me. I've really enjoyed it, and it's just given me a different look at some things and learn a lot of lessons. And sometimes you don't learn lessons until you have to learn it the tough way, and I did. I feel like it's made me better. I've really enjoyed the people here, the club. It's run by good people. It's heading in the right direction, and I really enjoy the buy-in from the players at the moment.
Will we get another 12 months?
Maybe, mate. I don't know. Okay, like I said, it's a week-to-week thing, mate. It's yeah. But
Just
I'm sure it's, by the end of the month, me and Bleeds, you'll sit down at the end of the month and we have a good discussion and nut it out.
Is that a time scale? Is that a
We're going to have a talk at the
cut-off?
end of the month. We've got 3 games to get through. We're going to have a chat then, and then he'll put a timeline on from there.
Brilliant. Look forward
You
to it.
don't need to ask me next week or the week after, because in 3 weeks' time we're gonna have a conversation.
We'll ask you at the end of the month. Thank you, Brad.
No
Brilliant.
worries.
Happy anniversary as well.
Thanks, mate. Saves you asking it now, James.
Ben Littlewood is in the squad for this week. I mean, I'd obviously not expecting him to play, but is he one of the young kids that you can see coming through and filling that gap that you were talking about a few minutes ago?
Yeah, well, he got his opportunity late at the end of last year, and he's just had a really disrupted pre-season and season, and we had some high hopes for him to, probably get a few more opportunities this year than he's been presented with. But we also would just want to take it slow with him. But he's, he's developing nicely. He's a, tall, rangy, good style of a back row, but he's also can play in the middle. So at some stage, it'd be nice just to see where all these guys are at. And maybe he's getting closer to an opportunity.
Is Tom Nicholson-Watton still injured?
Yeah, he's back running, so he's a little bit away, but he is back running.
He's in a similar category, presumably someone that you'd like a look at if you get a chance this year.
Yeah, well, he's only got the one opportunity this year. Tom's reliable. You know what you're going to get from him. He's a really good team player.
I get the sense that defeat at St Helens really stung the group. Do you want to see that reflected in the performance, and particularly your start tomorrow?
Yeah, well, I think we've seen it the following couple of weeks. We talked about after that game our response. So I think we've moved past that now, and it's more about our response to a really good performance. Sometimes they're harder to respond to. So that's the challenge for us now. It's not so much about what happened a couple of weeks ago. It's more how do we respond on the back of one of our better performances of the season.
Yeah, as has been mentioned, it's 12 months since your appointment. How much progress do you think the group has made compared to the squad that you inherited?
Look, I think there's been progress there. I'm not, comparing squads from previous years, or because actually, I think there's a lot of things that we do in our game now that Rowan done a good job with. So there's bits of pieces in our footy now that he put into the group in the couple of years we're here. So he's still got to get some credit for where the squad is at the moment. But like I said, I feel like our ceiling's still a little. We haven't quite reached our ceiling, and that's got to be a positive. But when we can do it every week, that's when everyone will be a bit more comfortable.
Yeah, when you talk about the bits that Rowan left behind, do you mean that attacking style maybe that we saw last week?
Well, they've got plenty of confidence to do that and plenty of skill, and he allowed them to play, to their skill level, and so there's been plenty of good traits, mate, still left in them.
No, good stuff. We're obviously coming into the crunch time now. Do these periods excite you as a coach? Do they sharpen the senses?
Yeah, yeah, they do. But in saying that, like we can't look too far ahead because there's still 10 games to go. You know, like you're only 2/3 of the way through a tough season. You know, like what I've been excited about is our last 6, 7 games have all been tough games. You know, we've had to be up every week and we've had to fight and grind and start well, and you know, like so we're hanging in there pretty good doing that at the moment. And you know, again, it happens again tomorrow night. So we haven't had a reprieve yet, which I think it's a good sign for the competition because I think if you take your foot off the gas, like teams are showing that they'll get you on their day.
Yeah, how much of a boost will that be to have him back and involved?
Yeah, well, mate, it's good for Andy. You know, like he's had to wait, so he gets an opportunity. But you know, like I've said all the way through, I'm pretty keen on having an 80-minute hooker in the squad. You know, just helps with more of your forward rotation. But I think this week, it's a good idea to have Andy in there, just to look after Jered. You know, 5-day turnaround, running for 9Ks, 104 meters per minute. Like that's big numbers, and we're just looking after Jered.
Yeah, just on Jered as well. How do you think he's kind of come on this season and developed more as he's kind of got those full 80 minutes in?
Yeah, well, the only way they get experience is by giving them experience in it, and sometimes it's hard when they have 1 or 2 games and they're in and out. He's got a run of games which, you know, helps him get a feel for it, and yeah, he's doing a good job.